Thanks for joining the Mixed Experience once again. Here today we have co-hosting Paul Farmer. How's it going, Paul?
Pretty good, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just been kind of taking it easy this week.
Gotcha.
You know, take a little time off from work, hang around the house, and try to get some stuff done.
That's always nice.
But I was hoping it was going to be a little bit warmer than what it has been. Good grief, I wasn't expecting snow the other day. Jeez.
North Georgia.
I tell you what, 2 or 3 days before that, it was in the 80s or something. And
experience all 4 seasons in a few days.
dang, it's crazy. Lacey, she called me, she said, and I hadn't even looked outside, and she was like, well, I hope the snow doesn't get too bad. And I said, what are you talking about? Snow? What the heck?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty wild, the weather here. So, but how's it been going around your way?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
That's good. So, but,
moving along.
I've been seeing and hearing a lot of interesting things about, here in North Georgia, and I think in Georgia in general, that we have Panthers.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people, if you go ask the officials, no.
Yeah.
They'll say there's only Panthers in Florida and like this. But now my wife, she swears she saw one, and, I believe her. I have never seen one, but there's so many people credible, that claim they've seen them. And we used to have them, the eastern cougar.
Yeah.
And then they say it went extinct. I don't know, I saw on, it was YouTube or TV, it was a newscast from out there in Tennessee, and they admitted that west of Nashville, they had a breeding population. They had checked their scat, and they'd saw them on trail cameras, and the DNA was connected to the western cougar.
Yeah.
That had migrated this way, and how they got across the Mississippi, they didn't know, but I mean, wouldn't be that hard. Let's think about it with barges, bridges.
Yeah, and too, maybe somebody's introduced. So,
that's a possibility too.
Because I think up around western North Carolina, there, some parts of there, hasn't the elk migrated into that area?
Well, they actually,
or did they release?
They actually released them. They got some out of Kentucky. They brought them into Chattahoochee, which is this area around Maggie Valley.
Yeah.
Which, we're close to North Carolina here, western North Carolina, here in North Georgia. And they introduced them, and they flourished, Now, Cherokee, the reservation over there where they have the casino, you just go up the main street, and there they are, walking up the creek, crossing the road, and they've made it over. They've actually made it over into around Murphy, western North Carolina. A guy hit one above the airport there between Andrews and Murphy in western, which is only about maybe 30 minutes from here, North Georgia. He hit one. It was about a year ago, and I thought it was, I saw it, heard about it, I thought it was a joke, and I called a buddy of mine that was a game warden that I knew. He goes, yeah. He goes, sure enough, happened.
Yeah.
It totaled the guy's truck. He didn't get bad hurt, but, an elk, hitting a deer is one thing.
Yeah,
you hitting an elk,
dang, that's like,
you looking like 700-800 pounds.
Deer on steroids.
It was a cow, But, and he admitted that they knew they had made it, because they don't put any limitations. They're not a fence or anything. They just put them there.
Yeah.
And he did tell me one interesting thing about them. He said they were a lot lazier than they ever thought. He said, because of the day, they'll just go in the woods, lay down. If it's hot, they ain't doing nothing. And, but he said there's no limitations, so there may be a day when you see one here in North Georgia, because they...
Well, they have, have plenty to eat and everything else. That's what I was kind of thinking about. You introduce a big cat here, they would have abundance of food. I mean,
the whitetail deer population.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
me and you both know. I've hit several deer.
Uh-huh.
You have. Everybody. I mean, I could go outside at my house. I live right across the line from North Georgia into Western North Carolina, because it's just right up the road. But I can go out on my deck. I did yesterday. Here's 6. You know, I mean, I could throw a rock and hit them. You know, and but there's just a huge abundance of whitetail deer, and that's their primary food source. So I mean, usually when you introduce when a food source starts coming back, it's not long before the predator starts coming back.
Yeah, same thing with you. Just right here in my backyard, right there, they bed down every night, and we see them there all the time. You know, they're all over the place, and I don't know if it's just because people don't hunt as much. You know, so.
I've heard all kind of theories. I've heard that we have so many subdivisions around.
Yeah.
That kind of offers them a safe haven.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that some have been introduced. You know, and I know the wildlife, when they bring something, they're probably not going to tell you everything they're doing or whatever.
Until they say, well, people who've seen a cougar or mountain lion, whatever you want to call it, they're mistaking that with a bobcat. There's no way to mistake.
No, bobcats.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of bobcats. Yeah. They got the short tail.
Yeah.
And I think I'm no expert, but I have seen, the grayish looking bobcats.
Yeah.
And then I have seen it's almost like they're a yellow looking, but they still have the stub tail, but they seem to be a little bigger than the.
Yeah.
Now a buddy of mine that hunts, he turkey hunts, he bear hunts, he deer hunts. He says there's 2 different subspecies. There's a yellow looking one and a bluish, grayish looking.
Yeah.
one. And he seems to think that some people misidentify the bigger yellow ones, but they don't have a tail.
That's what I'm saying.
My wife said she's animate. The big long tail.
Yeah, I've seen one come from the mountain. But it was a tan. It wasn't black, but I thought it was a small deer when it came out of the woods. It went back into the woods, and by the time I got back up there, it had come back out, and that wasn't no bobcat.
Yeah, I got
That wasn't no deer.
Got you.
It was a straight up mountain lion.
And I believe my wife, I believe you. And I've had many other people, tell me, hey, wait a minute, what's that? You know? And
I would love to see now, okay, we call it a panther because it's black, right? I mean, is it really considered a panther, or is it?
I don't.
I mean, is a cougar and a panther the same thing? Is that, or they're just kind of?
I think they are, but like I said, I'm no expert, and I got a buddy of mine. He's retired now. He was game warden.
Yeah.
I won't say his name, but he works for the county over at the courthouse, and he used to tell us. He said we would aggravate him when he was game warden. We'd be out fishing or hunting, and he'd check our license, and then we'd start BSing.
Yeah.
Come on now, there's. He said, well, no. He said, now officially, there's no panthers except in Florida. But he said, I said, so I shouldn't go walking at night in the woods with a T-bone wrapped around. I wouldn't do it. He said, so he couldn't exactly say, but and my wife got mad at me because at first I didn't believe her, but after all the research and everybody saying, I believe they're here.
Yeah.
Maybe not a huge population, but I believe they're here. Maybe they did go extinct when they said they did. Maybe they didn't. But I believe they have migrated, whether it be from Florida up here.
Yeah.
Because, there's no natural barriers, or the Mississippi, which is not going to be impossible at all for them.
Yeah.
And like you say, they've got a sustainable food source.
Yeah, and I don't think our weather, even though it sucks a lot of times, but I don't think it gets cold enough to really. I don't even know if our bears here even hibernate, do they?
I've heard that when it gets real cold, again, back to the guy I knew that was a game warden, and also knew a guy that was a biologist for North Carolina, and he's retired, but he said what they'll do, when it gets real cold, they'll den up for a little while,
Yeah.
maybe a week, maybe a month, but not like up north where they'll den up for months at a time.
Yeah.
I even know a guy that, and I saw it on YouTube, but this guy was right around Murphy, which is not far from here. It's in North Carolina, right across the line from North Georgia. He had one that, he was out doing something in his backyard and he heard something under the deck. And he said, I don't know if it was snoring or what, but he shined light. It was a bear, big black bear. He was asleep up under there. He had dug and got up under there. And he called the game warden and said, well, what do you want to do? He said, he ain't bothering nothing, just leave him there. Yeah. And he said, when it warmed up, he said, I didn't see him leave, but I went down there checking at a distance. He was gone. So he had went on his way. But,
Yeah, and, even where I grew up, they were tales of panthers. My dad would talk about it, and where I grew up, we had a huge swamp behind our house, and, whether it was a panther or not, I don't know, but, they say they scream like a woman. They sound like a woman when they're yelling or whatever they're doing, and, I never personally ever heard that. I've been in the woods a lot, but, I don't know if, but not to say it couldn't,
Oh, yeah. My dad used to love to coon hunt. Out at night, the dogs, tree a coon, and we were down below Murphy in the area by the river. I'll never forget it because I was little.
Yeah.
But I remember it scared the crap out of me. And we were, the other dogs had something treed, and it squalled, and it did. It made the hair stand. You've heard that, made the hair stand.
Yeah.
And it did. It sounded like, I said, what was that? Dad said, wildcat. But now that is a broad spectrum. I don't know exactly what he meant, but he had one big walker that was, he had him in competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Tree and coons. And he was with us. Whatever they had up the tree, he wasn't interested in it.
Yeah.
And Dad really prided himself on that dog because if it wasn't a coon, some dogs they'll tree a possum or something else, But if he treed something, there was a coon up that tree.
Yeah.
If it was something other, to a dog, I'm assuming it smells different.
Yeah.
And so he wouldn't fool with it. And so he was with us when that happened, the younger dogs. And he said, well, it ain't no coon. It ain't no raccoon, raccoon. And so, that.
Yeah.
And then by the time, before we got there, whatever it was, they jumped out and took off.
Yeah.
And so.
Never know.
You never know.
I mean, we used to, I know it's not a popular thing to talk about these days, but we used to trout animals and stuff like that. But my uncle, he caught two. I don't know if it was like a hybrid fox between a fox and a coyote or something. Mm-hmm. They were the weirdest looking. He caught two of them, and they were the weirdest looking things you ever seen.
Man.
Yeah, they were bigger than a fox, and you know how coyotes got the long snout nose. These didn't have that. They were just the weirdest looking, and he had them in a like a plastic dog cage thing he had that we would take dogs hunting in, and anyway he caught them and put them in there, and overnight they chewed through the crate, and they got out and left. And my uncle and daddy and them, they've been in the woods all the time, growing up.
And they'd never seen
and he didn't know what that was. I mean, it looked like a
cross between.
Yeah, it was a crossbreed of something, like a dog and a fox or something. It was weird.
You go back to that. I know it's a movie.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. But Jeff Goldblum, his character, whoever wrote that part, for him to say, hey, the dinosaurs can't breed because they're all female. Well, he said, okay, nature will find a way.
Yeah.
And he said, usually when you're trying to do this, it's probably going to end bad.
Yeah.
And it did, actually, in the movie. But that's just a movie. But And you don't know what goes on out there in nature.
No, especially
and some of those things can interbreed, and you never know.
Yeah, and especially in like these swampy areas and stuff where a lot of people can't go into and don't go into,
Right.
and don't want to go into. It's
Right.
like you don't know what's in those places, man. It can be all kinds of weird.
I mean, there's all kind of we could get into this and talk for days. Like where we live here in North Georgia, I can't remember his name, but there's a guy from Texas that disappeared not far from here, over on Blood Mountain.
Yeah.
Just I mean, and they look for
just
months.
Yeah.
And I mean, to not find a trace of the guy, I mean, I feel so sorry for that family. I mean, but you just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't find any kind of clothing.
Nothing.
Anything. Shoes, nothing.
And that to me it blows my mind,
I mean,
and you think, hey, this is civilization.
Yeah.
But even, we're what, 2 hours from Atlanta. There's I mean, you can go an hour or 30 minutes, you take a few steps and you're back, in the wilderness,
Yeah, and that Appalachian Trail, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's safe enough if you're on the trail.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, probably more than you would really think, but you get off that trail, get down and get turned around in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, you don't.
I mean,
I've been lost in the woods, and it's like,
yeah.
Me and my cousin, we went duck hunting one time in that same swamp I was talking about, where, anyway, usually me and my uncle would go duck hunting together. Mm-hmm. And he came over and wanted to go, and my uncle didn't want to go, and he said, well, take Josh with you, and y'all go down there. He knows where the spot is and all that stuff. We got down there, and we like to never got out of there.
Oh, yeah.
It got dark on us, and man, we like to never got out of that swamp.
Yeah.
We finally made our way back, but it was dark. We didn't have no flashlight with us or anything,
Right.
And, which, I mean, if we didn't show up in time or whatever,
right.
I mean, we was just right there below the house. Somebody would have came and looked for us, but it's that easy. Even though if you know the terrain.
And I used to hunt, and I got old and fat. Of course, I was fat then too, but I was just younger, and I could handle it better. But no, I've hunted in woods that I have known since I was a kid. And if you get a little turned around, the hollers and ridges, like you say, and a swamp is even worse.
Oh yeah.
But they all look alike.
Yeah.
And you might think, give you an example, me and my cousin, he's younger than me, and I had done, like where you take the dogs, you go through the woods, you come out here, and hey, pick us up here, because this is where we're going to come out. Well, we came out, he said, this don't look like where we're, he said, it's not. I took a left when I should have, what is that, Bugs Bunny in that cartoon? I should have took a left at Albuquerque, I knew it. Where are we at, And I was miles away from where I should have come. I got had a handheld radio, told my dad, hey, we're over, how'd you get over there? Well, and I actually think, all BS aside, I actually think I told him, well, I took a left at Albuquerque when I should have took a right. What? Well, where are you at? I said, I'm at Uncle Rob's cattle field. How I ended up down here, well, that's 5 miles. I said, well, I know, but it didn't seem like 5 miles.
Exactly.
It just, Yeah. And it is so easy.
Yeah. And
you wouldn't think it, but.
And, that guy that went missing,
I really feel sorry for them. But.
Yeah. They said that, he knew the terrain.
Yeah,
really well,
he was from, but he had lived here.
Yeah.
And he had walked that time and time again.
That's weird. Like, that just makes you wonder. I mean, and I've seen documentaries on the Appalachian Trail and stuff like that, and a lot of people, want to blame black bear or something. And black bear don't usually bother you unless you after their cubs or something.
Unless you bother a female with cubs, or you get a very aggressive male, which is rare.
Yeah.
But still you're going to find something.
Yeah.
Blood, clothes.
Especially a piece of clothing, something.
And I love the show Missing, I think it's 411.
Yeah.
I forget the guy that does it, but I love him. I love to watch that. And he, because the Forest Service doesn't really keep track. Or maybe they do, but they won't make it public.
Yeah.
I don't reckon. Because I had a cousin that worked for him, and he said, yeah, there's a lot of people go missing, but they're not going to, make that public record.
Yeah.
Of course, I can see why they wouldn't want to. But, I mean, is it all, who knows? We could do a whole show on that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is it just accident and we can't find them? Or is it foul play? Or is it something,
It's some weird stuff.
out there?
Because,
I don't know.
There's one case where a little boy went missing, and, that's what they were blaming it on was a mountain lion or something could have got the kid or whatever. And which, I mean, that's possible. But this one story they told was the little boy was there, and then the next minute he was gone.
Yeah.
And they found him actually alive. They found him out in the swampy area on a little island. His shoes wasn't wet or dirty or anything. And the water was so deep, there's no way he could have crossed that.
Yeah.
Only being, 5 years old or something?
Yeah,
how does that happen?
How do you explain that?
That's weird. And, but sometimes, you don't know about people either. Like, some people might go missing on purpose.
That's
not to say that guy did.
No. But some people, there's a case, I saw it on the news, a lady was going shopping, and 25 years later, they find her in, I think, North Carolina, I think. And she had left, 2 of her kids were older, one of them was like 4. But the sheriff of the county where she did live, I think it was by accident they found her somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know the whole story. But I know that he said she didn't break any laws, and her husband, I reckon, had passed away, so he couldn't try to charge her with abandonment. And he said she said that she was in a bad situation, which some people can be.
Yeah.
And the first thing you want to do is, you don't want to, some people will joke, well, how could she leave a 4-year-old and leave her children? I don't know if the situation was that bad. You might think you're doing them a favor.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he said she didn't want any contact because it had been 25 years. Didn't want anybody to know exactly where she was at. And he said, we're going to respect that.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not going to charge her because there's really no crime committed. And it's been 25 years. And he said, I'm going to respect her wishes. He said, if some people get offended by that, I'm sorry. But, it put him in a hard place. But I think he did as best he could. He respected. And you never know the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, it could have been just a situation where it was just so bad and terrible. The person, that's the only way they had an out was to just disappear.
Yeah.
And because I often thought about that, where people just disappear and you never hear from them, and I mean, I don't know. What if you went to your local sheriff's office and said, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Just give you the heads up.
Yeah. Don't look for me. I'm just going to,
Because, I mean, it's not against the law to disappear.
No, it's not against the law to just, we still live in a free country, thank God.
But,
and shout out to our troops for helping make us, we're able to do this.
Yeah, God bless
them. Yeah, I know this is getting off kilter here, but, you put yourself in a soldier, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, whatever. It's, you just do, be like us, you do what you're told.
Yeah.
You don't get into the political game. You got a job to do. If your country says, we need you to go over here and do this, they do it without question. And God bless them. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, God bless them. And, that's, it's great to have people that, they can put the politics aside and they're doing it for the American people.
Amen.
Amen. So, yeah, and I feel the same way you do is that, thank God we live in a country where, it's not perfect, but, it's damn better than
Oh yes.
a lot of places.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, go live in North Korea for 2
Oh, my
weeks and then
goodness.
tell me how bad we
Yeah.
are. No, we're not.
I seen pictures the other day. Those people were eating grass because they were starving to death. You know, and I'm not making fun of them in any way of that. I mean, they can't help it. You know, that's their comes from their leadership. But it's like, I mean, could you imagine being so hungry? That's all,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, and I don't want anybody to get mad, but we're kind of spoiled,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
You know, we are. And,
Well, and it's going to make a lot of people angry, but it's like, okay, look at the gas prices going up. They go up $1. Yeah, it sucks, but, you know, I'll pay a little bit higher gas price if we're taken care of.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and regardless of who the president is, if they're doing the right thing and, you know, in keeping us free and safe and everything else, that's not a lot to ask for when people are dying,
Yeah.
you know, for our freedoms.
I'll say this. I worked at a place years ago, and there was a guy from Iran that worked there. And he told me, he said, I don't agree with the good, you know, and it's not, there's good people in every country in this world.
Yeah.
And there's bad people. It's just, unfortunately, some countries are run by bad people. Yeah. And, you know, okay, I'll say this and I'll shut up. You don't want a country like Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
No.
You know, probably is something that should have been done. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. It probably should have been done 40 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Probably should have been done after the hostage situation. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but and look, I don't want innocent people getting killed, but it's war.
Yeah.
It happened in world. It happens in every war.
It's going to happen on our side. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I mean, God forbid it's going to happen. But you know, we shouldn't complain. And I'll be the first one. Oh, the gas prices are going to $4 a gallon, but. You know, if that's our biggest problem, I can cut back.
Yeah.
I can not go here and not go there, and you know, I love Spam.
Hey.
I can eat that a little bit, and I need to eat some more salads anyway. But I'm just saying, you know, let's sacrifice a little bit because other countries are sacrificing a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, I wish we could all get along and be in peace.
Yeah.
But, and I like I said, in general, I think there's good people in Ukraine, good people in Russia, there's good people in Israel, good people in Gaza, there's good people in Iran, but there's a lot of bad people.
Yeah, they are, and you know, and just your.
And unfortunately, some of those countries are run by bad people.
Yeah, and just your general public, they're just like we are. They're just trying to make a living and
just trying to survive.
Survive, you know.
Just trying to survive.
And you know. But to go back to the Iran having a nuclear weapon, it just shows you what they would do. Look how many countries over there they're bombed. They've sent bombs to
that haven't even done anything to them.
Yeah, and think if they had several nukes, they would be bombing.
What's that movie with Nicole Kidman and George Clooney? I mean, it's just a movie, but sometimes you got to take a little bit. You know, she told him. Nicole Kidman, her character, tells him, the person that wants 10 nuclear weapons doesn't worry me. The person that wants one scares me to death. You know, because they're probably going to use it.
They're going to use it. I mean, that's why they want it.
Yeah.
Why would you want one if you're...
Yeah, you're going to use it.
Yeah, because, you know, America offered Iran all the nuclear energy and stuff.
Yeah.
And all this, you know, and they didn't want it because they want a nuclear weapon. And... you know, and why people...
And, I've got a cousin who's in the Army, and he's getting ready he's not far from retirement. And I pray to God, you know, I hope he doesn't have to get in that. But let's face facts. If they've got enriched uranium and you can't destroy it, you're going to have to go get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to make that not there, not available. You know, in my way of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just we get back to the cougar thing. You know, he's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
You know,
Just out there trying to.
he's just trying to survive. You know,
Yep.
and but I believe they're here, and
Yeah.
hopefully they won't be. It won't have to be a bad incident to happen to bring attention to that. You know,
Yeah.
a hiker or something.
Yeah, and you know, I think those cats are pretty elusive. Like,
Oh, they're very.
and they have such a range that they can travel in, and it's unreal, like how far they can travel. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure. I don't know much about the females. I think the males are solitary.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of stay to themselves and until they find a female.
Right.
But I don't know if the females, if they're in packs or whatever you want to call it. But you know, I know they're here. I saw one. I don't know if it was just passing through.
Right,
Or,
exactly. And I believe you, and I believe my wife.
Yeah,
you know.
and
Now,
they,
at first I didn't, and she gave me a hard time. Said, "Well, I would believe you." But I have to eat my words, you know. It made my luck. I'll go to the mailbox one day and I'll make one. Hey, this guy will feed me for a month. I'm going to take him out. That'd be about my luck.
but I don't know. I saw that one day. I got the heck up the road. That
Well,
sucker.
This is comical, but I know we have cougars here because Walmart is now selling bear and cougar repellent. You know? I saw it in their gun
They
section.
might be talking about the other cougar.
Oh man.
Up around in there.
Oh yeah. Oh man. But yeah, like I said, they're selling it, so yeah, they know something. Oh my goodness.
Well, Paul, it's been a good conversation.
We've covered several things, but I've
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. And you have to come back and do some more.
Oh, we definitely will. Enjoy them.
I always have a great time when you're on, and you know, you always come up with some interesting topics to talk about.
Oh
so.
yeah. You wonder what are we going to talk about? Then you get on
Yeah.
there and you get to talking, and you know.
That's what everybody's like. I say, hey, come on the podcast. And they're like,
Yeah.
what are we going to talk about?
Once you get going, it's like when you take a coffee break. You start talking about a little bit of everything, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, you see the boss come through and look at their watch. You know, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's time to go back.
But I do appreciate you coming and hanging out.
Enjoyed it.
I really, like I said, I really enjoy you coming over, you know, when you do, and us having these conversations. And I mean, it's always good. So
It's enjoyable. Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
watch out for the cougars.
watch out for the cougars,
Both kinds.
especially the ones at Walmart.